Today, I've got a quick tip to help you if you're a home brewer. Hello there, my beer drinking friends, and more importantly, my beer making friends. Today, I actually do have a quick tip for those of you who are kegging your beers. A lot of us that homebrew, we get into kegging because the hassle of bottling and more importantly the time that it takes for your bottles to naturally condition, it's just not appealing. So a lot of us move on to kegging. It's much simpler. Instead of cleaning, 50 bottles for a 5-gallon batch, you just get to clean one really big bottle, the keg, and as long as you're force carbonating, you can have your beer ready in, just a few days. There's a few different methods that people are using to do that. First, people, a lot of times they will just fill their keg, get it down to a serving temperature, and then you can look at there's a lot of charts available online that will show you the solubility of carbon dioxide into beer. So then you can figure, I want 2.5 volumes. It'll tell you need to set your regulator at about 15 psi, and then after about a week, the pressure will equalize and your beer will be carbonated to the proper level. Second method, which a lot of people started using recently, is actually cranking up that regulator for the first day to about 35 to 40 psi. If you do that, your CO2 gets absorbed much quicker, and then you can dial it back to that 15 or whatever is recommended for the particular volumes you're looking for in that CO2. Third method, one that I've used a lot because frankly I'm very impatient, is I actually take my kegs and set them on the side when I'm in a hurry, so that the gas port is on the bottom, and then I'll shake the keg vigorously with about 30 psi on it for about 2 minutes. And what that does is it creates a lot of bubbles, and those bubbles get into the beer much quicker. I'll then set it back up on its upright and turn the CO2 pressure down after a little bit so that it then does adjust to the correct volume of CO2 that you need. Some people say that can have some long-term effects on your head retention. I haven't really seen that except in maybe one beer that I did this year. It's the first time I've ever seen that happen to me. But there's also another trick you can do if you're in a rush to taste that beer. And that's what I'm going to show you guys today. So this here is a Carbonator cap. This one is actually stainless steel. And I've added just a small section of tubing to the bottom of that because it does have a little nipple on the bottom for that. And then the other magic piece of this equation is a 2-liter soda bottle. Although you can use pretty much any size soda bottle as long as it previously held a carbonated beverage so that it's rated for having some pressure on it. You can use anything. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to open up my chest freezer here, and I'm going to grab this tap here, bleed off a little bit of CO2 because this keg is under pressure right now, and I'm going to fill up the CO2 bottle. Sorry, the soda bottle. So yeah, this is an IPA that I just finished kegging about a half an hour ago. But obviously, I'd really like to know what it's going to taste like fully carb. It already tasted pretty good with zero carbonation in it. So I'm going to get this guy, about 3/4 full. Let's look into that. Just a little more gas to this guy. Here we go, we're almost full. So as you can see, there's a little bit of carbonation just from fermentation, but it's not really all that much. If I poured this guy in a glass, you would be able to tell it's pretty flat right now. Alright. So there we go. I've got a mostly full bottle of IPA. I'm going to stick the carbonator cap in there with that piece of hosing. We will screw this on. Make sure it's nice and tight and it gets a good seal. Now I'm going to hit it with a bunch of CO2. I've got my regulator set at about 40 psi. I'm going to actually turn it down just a little bit. So yeah, the nice thing about this guy, it's got basically a ball valve disconnect for the gas. So you can see that it instantly filled that bottle up with CO2. It's now very tight. And now actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake it like I would do if I was, using a small, trying to carbonate one of my kegs. So I'm shaking this guy, getting as much CO2 as I can in there. You can see lots of little bubbles are forming. You can actually see it making little bubbles on the bottom there. Alright, so that should probably be pretty good. I'm going to pull this CO2 off of the bottle here. I can get it back onto my keg, which I am carbonating still. Now I'm actually just going to let it rest for about a minute, just to let it settle down just a tiny bit. I don't want to try to serve it right away. And I will be right back. Alright, so we're back. I've been letting the beer sit for just a minute, really. Honestly, it was just long enough for me to run inside and grab my IPA glass. This nice little Spiegelau glass. It's designed specifically for IPAs. So before, I've also basically taken a gas disconnect and hooked it up to a short piece of tubing here that's also connected to a picnic tap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this guy just a small crack to release a little bit of the pressure. So just a little bit of pressure is coming out. Seal it back up. So now I can use this quick disconnect on the gas that's now actually hooked up to tubing. Got a good seal. And I can actually pour myself a nice, hopefully well-carbonated pint of this IPA that I just kegged today. I actually probably could put a little bit more pressure on it, but there you go. You can see it's got a nice foamy white head. This beer probably needs a little bit of time to clear. We'll probably hit it with some kind of fining agent in the keg just to get it to drop just a little extra clear. There were a ton of dry hops in this beer. It's actually a Centennial and Mosaic IPA. Oh wow, but I'm actually getting a really nice nose on this guy already. It's a pretty simple malt bill. It was almost all 2-row with just a little bit of character malt. Ooh, that is really good. And you can tell just from when I took a sip there that it actually does have a ton of bubbles in it. Just that little bit of shaking and the carbonation that I hit it at, it's making this really tasty. I'm about to go eat some lunch and enjoy a little bit more of this IPA. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As you know, every Tuesday I review 2 beers for Two Brew Tuesday. You should check out some of those videos on our YouTube channel. You can actually subscribe so that you don't actually miss out on anything. We've also got some content up on Instagram and Facebook. And I know we've got another beer festival coming up that we're hoping to get to. So, please make sure that you're following us so that you can watch me drink more beer. All right, cheers, guys.